Hello. Hey, so
Person you have called is speaking to someone.
Hello, sir.
Shiviji, namaste, namaste.
Hi, sir.
I think we are on live, but we have to just wait. Is it? We have to stop the live, or are we going to be on live?
No, we are not live. We never turn on the live at 5 o'clock for us.
Okay, I'm not too sure.
I'm streaming here, but if on the floor it's not like people cannot see what we are speaking.
Check where Madhurima and everyone is, because it's 5 o'clock, 4:53, right?
Yeah. So Neil actually joined, and he said he'll join at 5 again,
Okay.
and then I'll just quickly check with other people as well.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Tanas.
Hi,
Hi, welcome here.
thank you so much.
Hi, Tanaz. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good.
Finally,
Tanaz.
I
Yes.
couldn't see who was online.
Yes. I'm here. How are you, Tanaz?
Yeah,
Good to.
very well, thank you. I'll start my video as well in a minute. Yeah,
Thank you, Tanaz. Okay. So thank you for joining us, Tanaz. I think
pleasure.
we are waiting for Madhurima and everyone to come in. And we just to let you know, Tanaz, just a few weeks back, we had hosted a session with the Welsh government.
Right.
Yes. And now we have not done anything yet with Ireland. So
Yes, so we make a beginning.
yes, we make a beginning, and we
Yes,
would love to do much more, because anything that to do with innovation, accelerators, and
exactly.
fintech, IoT, there are so much of things that we should collaborate and partner with. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And Verdi is
Absolutely.
also, yeah,
Same
thank you.
here. Yes.
Hi, Verdi.
Hi, Verdi.
We are just having a quick hello around the table,
Yeah.
just getting comfortable. So it's a very unique thing that we're trying to do here. So while we are all on Zoom, the
Mhm.
audience will be watching us on the floor platform. And
Okay,
yes, so hi,
interesting.
yes. Hi, Verdi. Good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Can you hear?
Verdi.
All right. We can see you and we can hear you, and a nice logo at the back.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have an IDA logo, except I don't know how to do it.
All right. If you want, I can give you a quick thing. If you go to your video,
Yes.
there's a select on your video. If you click on that, it'll ask you whether you want to choose virtual background.
Virtual background, correct.
If you click on that, and then it'll ask you to upload your virtual background.
Which I have already uploaded, but what it tells me,
Okay.
yeah,
I understand. So you have to, yeah, your computer configuration has to be worked out.
yeah. So that's why, yeah.
Yes, that's a catch.
So what is that? Sorry, what do I have to do? Is it about, because I'm not using the Zoom app
No, you
and I'm
have to.
going,
Yeah.
that's why it's not happening. Correct.
You have to have the Zoom app, and then only it will work properly. Otherwise the ghosting will happen, and that's pretty weird.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So we use, as a organization, we use Teams.
Of course, I understand. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why.
I
But
think Adam. Hi, Adam. How are you? Good to see you here.
hey, Adam.
Or rather, we see you, but we don't see you. You'll have to come on camera.
It's very early for Adam, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. Thank you for joining in, Adam. And Verdi and Tanaz, we're waiting for Madhurima, and we're also, of course, waiting for. Yeah, Madhurima should be coming in a minute. I'll just check. I'll just go on mute while I'm just checking this.
Yeah.
Yes, so we have Neil as well. Hi, Neil. A very good evening to you.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much.
Hello, Neil.
Hi, how's
Good
everyone?
afternoon. Great, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad.
What's the temperatures like where you are?
It's a bit cold here today. I see we had some snow on the mountain last night.
Oh,
So,
nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, from where I am, it's fantastic. It just sounds delightful. In Mumbai, and it's a hot day.
Is it really warm? Oh,
A
no.
sultry hot day, yeah.
I'm not great with the heat.
No. But neither am I great with the cold, so I shouldn't be saying anything. The grass is always greener on the other side for me.
Absolutely.
But it's
No,
lovely in Bangalore, where you are from Bangalore, is that right?
Yes, I'm from Bangalore. I'm the lucky guy.
Yeah, because you have it just right. Not the bitter cold and not the humidity of Mumbai.
Yeah, Bombay is different, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Verdi? What's it like where you are?
It's 39 degrees. I'm in New York.
Ah, okay. So I guess we're about at par. Yes. Adam, good morning. It's a very early day for you.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
All good, thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
I heard you guys talking about the heat. I might be the only one with snow coming down as we speak.
As you
No.
speak, Neil has had some snow.
We got some snow as well. Yeah, not much, mine, unfortunately.
We had flurries yesterday. So
Ah, yeah. Now, if only there was a balance everywhere.
Great.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Madhurima.
Oh,
Great.
hi. How are you?
To see you all today.
Ditto.
So we are all in. We are 1 minute to go, Madhurima. So if with your permission and if everyone is very comfortable,
Yeah.
I could kickstart in maybe a minute's time, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So Madhurima, just keeping it very simple, I would just talk about very 30 seconds on the context and introduce you. And I just give a very quick shout out that these are the other panelists over here. So that then we go to the content and we focus on what really matters. So I'll keep it very, very simple. All right.
Yeah, and then I jump into the conversation. We are not introducing folks again, right?
No need, no need. Absolutely no need. Absolutely no need. I'll keep a very brief introduction. And for everyone, please, you all are most welcome to send your PDFs or whatever else you want us to share with the community. We'll do that for you. Okay. So it is now 5 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock.
Vichita, just we'll wait for 2 more minutes for Som to join, and then we'll get started. We are just finishing the inauguration on the connected panel. Hey guys.
Yeah, and folks, I know I said this yesterday, but if I've asked someone a question and they've answered, and you want to add something, feel free to jump in. Right? You can just raise your hand or say it like you want to add something. That's totally okay. Tanaz, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was just trying to find the raise your hand and just trying to get ready with all of that. Oh, just this is fine.
Straightforward way.
That's so easy.
Madhurima is a veteran, by the way, of all these kind of sessions. Huh? She's everywhere. So
Yeah.
so she's very good at this.
We try to keep it simple. Verdi, I'm glad we have a minute. I don't have too many questions for you in the first half. So, if you might want to add something, just say that there. Because your questions I've kept slightly towards the mid part of the conversation. Yeah.
sure, that's perfectly fine.
And we have how much time, Vijeta, from mute?
45 minutes. 45 minutes. Small spillover is absolutely not a problem. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting content and a lot of rich insights that are going to be shared. And and Madhurima, you of course also have something to talk about from NetApp point of view as well. So the audience would love to hear that, and that's what it really matters. So we already have a few hundred people across. Quite a few people are joining in, and it will be a good audience as well. And Shivi, whenever you say, we'll wait for Som. No problem.
Just a second. I think they're just closing the inauguration.
Absolutely no problem. But since we are on live and we are on camera, we got to all look good. We all got to smile and we got to say hi to the audience. So that's what it's all very interesting, this virtual world.
Yeah, we are gonna open the live stream in 1 minute as well.
Yeah.
So you can all chat for that time as well.
Okay, then it's fine.
Yeah. And then when I say 3, 2, 1, you guys can start smiling and waving hands. That's good for our audience.
That's it. No dancing, nothing else.
Yeah, it's fine. I think we'll make a fun IoTMatrix.
I even put a tie on today. First time for a long time.
Good.
I forgot how to do it up.
Yes.
also, for everyone else, we have many startup booths. We have quite a few things happening, and we'll send you the audience link. You're most welcome to come in as a visitor, browse around, and have lots of fun, interact with the startups, whatever you want to do. Okay, it's of course
thank
the
you.
flavor is
Thank you.
IoT, by the way. You'll see more of hardware and IoT and sustainability, those kind of startups. But please have a good time with that also.
Thank you.
And just in case you'll also want to know that Madhurima is also from NetApp putting together a lot of very, very interesting sessions independently and of course together with us. So maybe there will be a lot of other opportunities for us and your team and your colleagues later on to interact and catch up and collaborate and partner.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, one important thing. For some reason, if my internet stops working or I drop off, I'm going to continue to have a conversation. You don't need me for that. So just continue, okay?
Yes. No, that's always a thing, isn't it, Madhurima? Like that's another skill. Like what happens when everything goes wrong?
And same here, just in case my internet drops, I'll connect again. But yeah, but like it's become a norm. People just adjust, yeah? Thanks.
And we have Som who's joined in. Hi, Som. Yes, Som's here.
Hello.
So Som, you're on mute.
Hey, so good to see you.
Fantastic, Madhurima. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy I'm in such elite company with, peers from across the globe. Couldn't get better.
Yes, I guess that's what COVID made us do, right?
Yeah.
Go global. Good. So we are just waiting. I was on the inaugural keynote. We're just finishing up on the other Zoom link. So we'll just get started in another 5 to 10 minutes. Let the audience flow in out here, please.
Okay. So we'll wait for the green signal. I think Shivi is
yes,
also monitoring.
Just give us another 5 to 10 minutes max, because that session is just a couple of minutes late. So we'll get started.
So as soon as the inauguration session finishes, we'll start our streaming on floor, and I'll just ping you. I'll just tell you all, and we can get started.
Perfect.
So good. So we have Shivi, Vijeta, Madhurima. We are all based out of Bangalore. Neil, we just chatted half an hour back.
Morning.
Right? Out of Cardiff.
Yep.
Are you Ireland? Which city? Dublin? Sorry, Tanas, you're on mute.
I represent the Irish government in India. So I'm based in Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are in Bangalore as well?
Mumbai. I come to Bangalore often, but Mumbai
we're
right
live now. We are live now.
Got it.
Yeah, we can have some friendly chat, and we can start with the.
Fantastic.
So welcome you all from my side. Over to you, Som and Vijita.
Sure. So guys, we will probably just give me 1 second. Yeah. So just to give you my brief introduction. I'm a partner at Bharat Innovation Fund. We are a venture capital fund focused on funding more deep tech, IP-based startups going global from India. And I also happen to be the co-founder of IoT Forum and co-chaired this conference, IoTMatrix. So welcome, a very, very warm welcome to all of you at IoTMatrix. And just a few words about IoTMatrix and IoT Forum. It's IoTMatrix. We are on our 6th anniversary. This is of this annual conference. Previously, we used to call it IoT Next. Now it's IoT Forum. And this essentially is a think tank initiative by TIE, the industry entrepreneurs, to raise the IoT quotient of India. This started up back in 2014, and IoT Forum is now a pretty vibrant community with over 2,000 plus IoT deep tech startups developing technologies and solutions across the entire stack, from the sensor to the cloud, several thousand active participants with 14 task forces and 100 plus volunteers, right? So we have we've grown. And IoT Forum initiatives include regular meetups, mentorship, an active community forum on various topics of interest. IoTMatrix Awards, I will request you to join that. We start at 7. And global ecosystem connects like what we are doing now, corporate and partnerships and engagements, many areas of thought leadership, including IoT security, the free wireless band, opening up the free wireless band technologies and so forth. And of course, another piece that we do pretty rigorously is ensuring most up-to-date repository of 2000 plus Indian IoT startups, right? So that's what, in short, what we do. And obviously we bring the entire community together for an annual gathering in December, which is IoTMatrix. And of course,
do we have a first glitch of the day? So I think it's hung, isn't it? Okay. So
I think, yeah, some internet connectivity is site.
Vijay.
But yeah, I think the show must go on, Vijeta.
done, Dale. So let me Som, I think we lost you for that second.
Which second? Sorry.
In 5 seconds we lost you, but you're back now. You're back clear.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I was just introducing you, Vijeta, that you are our executive director for Thai Bangalore. How could I get cut off at the worst possible time? Right?
It happens, so it happens.
So Vijeta is a dear friend. He is the executive director of Thai Bangalore, and he's a core committee member of IoT Forum. And most of you already know him. He is probably the most avid networker I have personally seen. So over to you, Vijeta.
Som, thank you for that. We shall understand what a lot of the statements that you made really means, but we'll figure out it later. But now it is my honor and privilege to kickstart this really wonderful session. It's about cross-border collaboration, partnerships, and what can enterprises, accelerators in India. And that's why we have a wonderful person like Madhurima with us. And then we have representatives from all over the world talking about the potential and what should we be actually doing, not just talking, but doing stuff. So let me start by saying that Madhurima is going to be our moderator. She's the director of the NetApp Accelerator, does a lot of work with startups and the community over the years, someone that I know for many years. She's been an entrepreneur, she's worked in the investment field, and now of course she's doing a phenomenal job at NetApp, and she's going to be moderating the session. So thank you so much, Madhurima, for joining us today and taking time out. And we also have some very, very interesting cross connection and cross-border kind of folks. So let me start with Tanaz. She's from IDA Ireland, not from Ireland. She actually lives in Bombay, but but so what? That's still a fantastic thing that we have someone from Ireland, the Irish luck, the wonderful beers, the wonderful whiskeys, and so many other things. And of course, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about innovation and startups and cross-border collaboration. Then we have Neil. Neil is kind of close to Ireland. He's from the Welsh government. He's a director there, and a little bit of focus around cybersecurity, Neil. And we had actually hosted him a couple of weeks back, and some very interesting insights that he had shared, and that's what he's going to be doing. And then we have Adam, all the way from Canada. All right, so he's the director of Planet Hatch. Some very interesting insights that is going to be coming from you as well, Adam. We're looking forward to that. And then we have Verdi Atienza. I hope I got that right. And he's from DNA Associates. So they work very on very core thing around immigration, and they advise people and founders, especially very successfully, in fact, who want to move to the US of A. So with that, Madhurima, over to you. And I'm going to go on silent mode and listen into this wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Vijeta, for that lovely introduction and this opportunity to speak to this panel of experts from around the world. I think it's a brilliant opportunity that you have created for us to get an understanding of what these various ecosystems are experiencing and the opportunities that they offer to startups. So I'm going to try and cover this in 3 parts. We'll spend some time getting an understanding of what is happening in the particular ecosystems like Ireland, in Wales, in Canada. We are going to then spend some time in understanding a topic which is affecting us every day, which is COVID. What extra is being done or offered to startups during these times? And then once we've discussed the what and stuff, we'll come to the how. And we'll understand about how we can avail these opportunities. So with that, I'll begin with Tanaz first. So Tanaz, tell us a little bit about, the IoT sector scene in Ireland. Which are the sectors where you see the startups playing a major role? What are the opportunities? And given that it's an IoT Matrix forum, we'll talk more about IoT companies, in the hardware and software, where you see these opportunities coming.
Thank you very much, Madhurima. Hello to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And Vijeta did mention the Irish beer, the Irish landscape, the Irish everything. He didn't mention the Irish IoT cluster. So I'm going to take care of it. Thank you for that, Madhurima. And just a very quick step back. I represent the Republic of Ireland, and we've got strengths in certain sectors. IoT, as we know, transgresses across a number of sectors. And the Republic of Ireland, just for those in case there's confusion, is an independent country, and the Northern Ireland belongs to the UK. We are part of the EU, and we will continue to be so. Now, when we say when we say IoT in Ireland, right from the whole people, process, or data and things of Internet of Things, we have parts in Ireland. So whether it's about collecting data, connecting with machines, or connecting with machines that's going to relay the information and transforming the information you receive, we have clusters across all of this, right? So that's a physical world, data harvesting, data transmission, data hosting, data analysis, value discovery. And again, just what do we have? We call Ireland the smart island. We've got analog devices in Ireland, and they have thousands of advanced product lines in IoT. We've got Intel. The IoT Quark chip was designed in Ireland. IBM has its Smart Bay and a Smart Cities projects in Ireland. EMC it's a collaborating partner in a large European IoT test bed. And it goes on. We've got Grasp in wearable technologies. We've got SAS, which has a center for data analytics, or NCAD around design thinking and prototype. If I were to specifically talk of younger companies, Fitbit in the healthcare space, huge presence in Ireland. Cubic, which is a crossover between telecom and infrastructure. They are a startup from Ireland, a global startup, if I can say that. And we have someone talking from Fitbit tomorrow in one of the panel sessions. We also have Taoglass, again in the future mobility space. So there is many. And just to wrap it up, so we've got the larger companies, we've got the younger companies who feed into the larger ones. We also have research centers and incubator centers where younger companies are incubated or supported and brought up to a certain level. And this is across a number of our research institutes, one of which would be Tyndall, which is for microelectronics, wearable which is like examples, wearable surgical training glove or capsule technologies. We've got Center for Nanotechnology. We've got a Center for Data Analytics, and it's the largest publicly funded data analytics R&D center in Europe. We've got a center around advanced telecommunications, and it has created it's called Connect. It has created the world's longest IoT backbone over TV white space spectrum. There's another one for digital content, and that's basically pioneering intelligent behavior. And then we have one around telecommunication systems and software. So the crux is the ecosystem is very rich, whether you're a large player, a younger company, or even any kind of player in the IoT field. And the government of Ireland supports in a number of ways, but we'll come to that as we move on. Thank you.
Thanks, Tanaz. That has really got me excited. I learned about technologies that are there in Ireland, as you said, very well said, the smaller ones and the bigger ones, some known names, some new to us. And with that, I'll jump to both Adam and Neil, right? Cybersecurity, it seems to be a rapidly growing sector in both Canada and Wales. And it's something that touches all industries. So, Adam, if I can come to you first, do tell us about the ecosystem in Canada and if there are opportunities for international entrepreneurs to tap into.
Sure. Well, thank you, Madrima, and it's great to be with everyone. It's morning time here in Canada, evening time in India. So good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm really pleased to be with you today. And you're absolutely right. Cybersecurity, as we all know, globally is one of the most rapidly growing industries. And in Canada, Canada is a big country with, a relatively smaller population. But I would say that both industry supported by government at all levels has been really focused in making the most of the various assets that we have across the country. Now, I'm actually from the east coast of Canada in a province called New Brunswick. We're about a 10-hour drive north of New York City in the States. And where we see a lot of potential locally is within the subsector of critical infrastructure protection. And that is primarily drawn from the research and development work that is going on in this field locally at the universities and related research institutes. About 10 years ago, that research was commercialized with a company who ultimately exited to IBM for about $500 million. And since that exit was made, IBM has retained the talent and the IP that formed that company, and now has their largest critical infrastructure protection network here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, that is employing about 120 people here. Now, from that, we've seen the industry grow rapidly, and there are a number of startups and larger companies like Siemens and others who are investing to develop new technologies to protect critical infrastructure like our water and sewer, our energy, the ability to secure spaces and assets like the new cyber building, which is a $37 million private capital expenditure building, which is going to house a number of startups and international companies working on things from energy to water sewer to 5G and other related technologies. And I see, what I think sets us apart is the focus on those particular sectors, and then the collaboration that exists within for the private sector as well as government and other stakeholders like academia. One of the interesting things to note on the research side is just if I look at the 2 kilometers surrounding the Accelerator Center in Knowledge Park that I'm in, you find over 26 research and development institutes in that 2-kilometer radius. And they're putting out IP that can be commercialized not only by entrepreneurs that are here in Fredericton, but we make that IP available to be commercialized by entrepreneurs worldwide. And there are support mechanisms, whether it is incubation and acceleration services, such as those done by my organization, Planet Hatch, who is partnered in this space, as well as investment and connections to a global network of cybersecurity specialists in the critical infrastructure protection field. Now, we actually just launched last week a dedicated accelerator for cybersecurity that is going to enable participation from not only Canadian companies, but through the Startup Visa program, which is a national program that Canada runs, which allows international entrepreneurs to relocate their business and relocate themselves and their families through the visa stream to achieve permanent residency for up to 5 co-founders and their families by locating the company here to Canada. And so through that accelerator, interested companies, those maybe from India that are working in this field, will have a pathway to permanent residency in Canada, have a pathway to a program that will support them to start up and then scale their cybersecurity startup. And we also have matched international angel investors that are willing to put millions of dollars behind the research, commercialization, and then the scale aspect of it. So in short, there's some really exciting things happening in the cybersecurity field in Canada, and we certainly are doing our level best to open those opportunities to entrepreneurs around the world to be able to come here and develop and start those globally facing companies.
Thanks, Adam. I think it just gets better and better as we hear from more of you. So let's hear from Neil. Neil, as you shared in one of our earlier conversations, that the Welsh government is really looking at attracting more overseas companies, and it's a priority for them in your new international strategy. Can you tell us a little bit more about the partnerships they are forming with the industry and academia, and how they are looking at supporting startups?
Sure, yes. Good morning from Wales here in the United Kingdom. I'm delighted to be part of the panel here today. I'm part of our inward investment team within Welsh Government. And I tend to focus on looking at tech investment into Wales and predominantly cybersecurity. So most of what I'll talk about today is probably geared around the support that's available to existing companies in Wales, but to potential inward investors who are interested in cybersecurity. And you're right, there's a lot going on here at the moment. As you mentioned, cybersecurity, growing the cybersecurity sector in Wales is a priority for Welsh Government. It's one of the 3 pillars of our new international strategy, is to drive growth and investment into the sector. We're a bit of a well-kept secret. Wales probably has the largest cybersecurity cluster in the UK. We have a strong ecosystem of industry working with government, working with academia, and law enforcement and defense. Our clusters are founder members of what's called Global Epic, which is the ecosystem of cyber ecosystems. So a couple of years ago, I think it was led out of actually Ireland. There was some research activity undertaken by academics in Ireland and the UK government to go out and actually trawl the world and actually identify where cybersecurity hotspots exist. And we were pleased that Wales was identified as one of the 14 leading centres for the development of cyber technologies outside the likes of the Hague Security Delta in the Netherlands, the Israel Cyber Spark initiative, and obviously MIT there in the US. So we're keeping good company in terms of developing the sector and the expertise that we have. Part of what we do, part of what Welsh Government is doing at the moment to support the startup and scale-up community is by working with some of the larger defence primes, some of the larger players in cybersecurity, to try and get them to engage with the smaller SME community, so they can become part of their supply chain and help some of those smaller companies and startups mature to enable them to get into the defence and security markets predominantly. So Welsh Government has invested in a partnership with the global tech giant called Thales, and have established the National Digital Exploitation Centre in quite a deprived area of Wales called Ebbw Vale. The centre there, there's sort of 3 parts to that. One is which is lab and tech facilities and incubator space to support cyber startups and scale-up companies. There's an educational outreach program there. So the guys at Thales are going out into industry, into SMEs, to make sure that they are cyber resilient, working with schools to help generate interest amongst the particularly females, girls, into STEM education subjects, and to try and attract young females into the next generation of cybersecurity roles. Also within Thales there, they look at developing cyber technologies for CNI, as Adam has mentioned, critical national infrastructure. But in terms of IoT, focus a lot on autonomous vehicles, unmanned aerial vehicles, and energy systems. We've also got, Welsh Government also has a joint venture company with Airbus. A lot of people know Airbus, obviously, for the aeroplanes that they make and that we fly, well, in the good days when we could fly around the globe in their aircraft. But also Airbus have a very strong cybersecurity arm, which is based in Wales, and Welsh Government has a joint venture with them to 100% fund early stage research and development in the fields of sort of protecting the factory of the future, industrial Internet of Things, next generation cyber defense, human factors in cyber, really anything that is looking at future technologies using IoT, Internet of Things, factory of the future, the usual sort of buzzwords. So if any startups have got any very innovative ideas of developing products and services in that space, the Airbus and Welsh Government joint venture will look to 100% fund some of that activity. What else we got in terms of General Dynamics? Again, a global defense company, have a significant presence in Wales, and again, they have one of their only R&D facilities outside of North America. They run open innovation programs there, and again, they're there to support our startup community in Wales and scale up companies to help them mature their technologies. So if companies have got an idea of a new product or process, which they're looking to launch that in maybe a defense or security market, General Dynamics will help them mature that technology to enable them to enter those interesting marketplaces. And I'll just finish up for now, again, talking about, I mentioned briefly sort of skills, education. Welsh Government is also working with our academic network. We've established the National Cybersecurity Accelerator out of one of the South Wales universities. And again, they're about basically generating the next generation of cyber expertise by working with industry mentors come in, help shape the curriculum, the course that those graduates undertake over their 3 years at the Cyber Academy. So the ultimate aim is those graduates leave that academic institution ready to hit the road running, as it were. They've worked with industry over their 3 years. They understand the problems of industry, and they're ready to be useful, I suppose, within industry from day one of their graduation. So that's a bit of a flavour of an overview of some of the work that we're doing within Welsh Government, in partnership with large companies and academia to try and develop the sector here in Wales for the future.
Yeah, I think that's really fantastic. And I am sure the audience is now all asking the question, so how do we get all of this, right? I mean, that if I were out there, that's one question that would be on the top of mind. But I do realize that given that there's so much on offer, right, and this probably we don't have enough time for that to discuss, I would request all of you to share with us some documentation that we can then send out to the audience. Vijeta, I'm assuming we can do that so that they get clear and written communication about how they can use these offers that are available to them. And also to the audience, do feel free to type in your questions so that we have enough time to take the questions from you and share what you'd like to hear.
Madhurima, sorry to interrupt. May I make a couple of points on cybersecurity as well, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Thank you. So again, Neil referred to it about the cybersecurity company from Ireland, but we do have a number of cybersecurity companies in Ireland, and 6 of the global ones, the ones everyone would be familiar with, McAfee and the lot, are in Ireland, and they conduct various kinds of activities, right from research and development to a security operations center to data centers, or managing trust and privacy, even software development, etc. The high value technology, like even a company like MasterCard, which is really, as we would know it, a financial services company. They have labs in Ireland which are constantly innovating to create the next generation payments, and that's going to define and defend the future of payments across the world. And in terms of cybersecurity for pharma, we have that as well, clusters. And I'll just read out a tech research firm called comparitech.com recently ranked Ireland amongst the top 4 cyber-secured countries in the world. And there are 3 others, of course, but we would rank the top 4 in the world. So just to share, we do have again, the larger companies and the younger ones, and then the whole research center incubation piece where the new ones are nurtured. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Tanash, for sharing that. Now, we haven't yet had a chance to talk about the US, and that's one of the larger ecosystems. Given that Silicon Valley happens to be in the US, and we have Verdi, who's an attorney for US immigration. So, Verdi, let me ask you, any insights you'd like to share in terms of how you've seen immigration change with COVID affecting the world? It's a reality today. Any thoughts you'd like to share if you've seen any changes happening there about US visa processing, about the people moving or looking for those things?
Sure. Thank you, Madhurima. Um, uh, Good morning from New York. Good afternoon to everyone in India. It is a pleasure to be part of this esteemed panel. Again, I just want to briefly introduce our organization. I'm from Davis and Associates, so an immigration law firm based in New York, and we help clients from all over the world set up new and exciting businesses in the United States, and we help them procure the necessary visas to move to America and to run and operate those businesses. So to answer your question, Madhurima, basically with the COVID situation, as you probably already know, travel has been very difficult for everyone. There have been bans and travel bans in place due to COVID to prevent the spread. But in terms of applying for a US visa, I mean, the embassies and the consulates around the world have very limited operations right now, but they still do schedule appointments. So if there's a need to apply for a US visa, you can still apply for an emergency appointment, especially if you can justify that it would be in the national interest of the United States for you to come to the US. So just to very briefly mention two of the most popular visa options for entrepreneurs and for investors. Those would be the L1 intracompany transfer visa and the E2 treaty investor visa. Again, the embassies around the world continue to schedule appointments despite the travel restrictions. There may be additional steps that may be required for the applicant to get the visa. Aside from applying for the visa, they would have to separately ask for a national interest exemption, especially if you're coming from countries where there are there's a higher incidence of COVID cases. So for instance, specifically for people coming from the European Schengen area, they would need to obtain a national interest exemption before they could travel to the US.
Thanks, Verdi. So, given that we are talking about, COVID-19, Adam, this question is for you. COVID-19 has impacted all businesses, right? And particularly those in the startup stage. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs as they try to start and scale new companies during these uncertain times?
Sure. Well, thanks for the question, and certainly very timely. And I'll say at the beginning, I don't have a magic bullet or a crystal ball. So it's somewhat dependent on the startup, but I can share some insights of what we've been seeing with the startups we're working with here in Canada, and those that are international that are participating in the programs and services we offer at Planet Hatch. And I think the first, just general rule of thumb is if you have cash, keep it on hand, right? Like cash is king. And that is so true during these uncertain times. So having that cash on hand, if it is available to you, is really critical. My second piece of advice would be a little bit more general. I think that there's a quote that stuck with me throughout this COVID time, and I believe it's by Vladimir Lenin, who said that there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. And what I mean by that is the world is so rapidly changing. Like what the last 9 months or so that we've gone through in terms of the changes, whether it be, locally before COVID, very difficult in New Brunswick to access a doctor virtually. Well, that has completely changed overnight. And just one small example, of the changes that are even more rapidly taking place. So for those that are in the startup space, as you try to build a business that is, solving a problem that individuals or businesses have, I think you have to really be thinking about not the headlines, but what are the trend lines in your industry, and ensuring that you are bringing your product to market thinking, what might have been 5 years on the horizon is probably 1 year on the horizon now. So in Canada, hockey is our biggest sport. We would often say you try to find out where the puck is going to be, not where it is right now. So that would be my second piece of advice to these startup entrepreneurs, to try to figure out what is coming and match your product solution to that coming trend. And then finally, I think that this conference is very representative of the global partnerships and the global markets who are interested in having your business come to their market. And so thinking, it's very common for a startup entrepreneur to first validate their product solution locally, start to sell locally, and then to, after a few years, typically when they're, at some level of profitability, to then start going to global markets. In today's world, you cannot do that journey because the global markets are moving too quickly. So you need to be thinking about those global export markets from day one and positioning your company and your product and service to be able to succeed in those markets. So thinking from day one, trying to understand where the puck or the ball is going to be a few years from now and positioning yourself there. And then also, being confident and competent with your use of the cash on hand would be 3 pieces of advice I would give these startup entrepreneurs.
Thanks, Adam. And, having worked with a lot of startups at NetApp Accelerator, which is a B2B tech product startup, I completely resonate, the advice that you shared. Cash is king. We told all our startups when they started, just conserve all the cash that you can, use it smartly, deploy it where you think, the next big bucks are going to come from. The example that you shared about hockey. And by the way, hockey for us in India is different. So what you're referring to is ice hockey. And I've had the pleasure to watch a game once when I was in Toronto. So yes. Now, since we've talked about advice, we have a question from the audience. What is your advice for beginners? And I think what they mean is people who are just graduating. And Neil, do you want to take this question? Share some advice around
Ooh,
beginners.
that's an
It's a
interesting
tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, in Wales, we have quite a strong business support network. We have an organisation called Business Wales, which is there really to support graduates and those who are looking to start out in business. So we have a whole network of professional advisors across all sectors who can work with those individuals or the groups who've come together with an idea or creating a new business or developing a new product or service. So we're quite lucky that I think our startup community is well served. We're also lucky that across the network in Wales, we have a large number of incubators and co-working spaces looking at different particular areas of tech. So, as an example, some of you may know an organization called Tramshed Tech, who are based in Cardiff. They're quite a large incubator and co-working space. Actually, they're located in the heart of the Indian community in Cardiff. They tend to focus more on working with IoT startups and cyber startups. But we also have a life science hub in Cardiff, and they've been doing a lot of work and seen a lot of interest in companies setting up medtech companies during the pandemic. And also agri-tech as well. Aberystwyth University Innovation Centre is home to a new agri-tech accelerator and co-working space. And all of these organisations are reporting into Welsh Government, saying that they're seeing quite a growth of inquiries from individuals, graduates, and unfortunately some individuals who may have been made redundant during the COVID crisis, all very keen to start new businesses, look at new ventures. I won't talk about funding just yet, because I think that's a question that's coming up later on. But again, Welsh Government has support in place to offer seed funding to tech startups to help them along their ways. But I guess specifically an interesting program that we have for graduates, and there's a link here, I think, with Adam in Canada, is the Alacrity Foundation, which was established by the tech entrepreneur Sustainability Mafia in Wales, who's got quite a large footprint, various companies in Canada, where we have a sort of a 15-month boot camp. So graduates coming out of universities can go and work in the Alacrity Foundation, get paid to work there, to actually start creating tech companies. They typically work in teams of 4 of other tech graduates, and basically develop tech companies and launch tech products. And we, Welsh Government, then will put equity funded into those companies as they mature, as they graduate out of the foundation, and start up a venture in Wales. So basically, we provide £250,000 worth of seed funding, which is with a co-investor, a private sector investor. We take an equity stake in those companies, and hopefully, they'll grow and thrive and be the next sort of unicorn in the tech sectors coming out of Wales. I don't really know if that answered your question there, but yeah, there's a lot going on, I guess, what I'm trying to say, to support graduates, tech startups, and those who are maybe looking to start up new ventures during this COVID crisis.
Thanks. Tanas, I'll come to you next, but looks like Adam wants to add something here.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question that's on a lot of people's minds right now. And I think, to add to what Neil said, because what I heard, from Neil is there is so much opportunity for young people, whether you're looking to start a new business yourself, or whether you're looking to work with one of these fast growing, really exciting, innovative companies. And I'm sure that that's true for those that are in India that are looking to stay, or if you are looking to branch out and take advantage of some of the programs and opportunities Neil mentioned. What I did want to add, though, is just acknowledging, in the same way that things are changing so rapidly on the business and economic side, as I mentioned earlier, things are changing even more rapidly within the labor market, and the types of skills that are in demand today and what will be in demand continuing into the future. And the main driver of that change is the technological disruption that is taking place in artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. There's some interesting statistics, and we've been doing a little bit of work in this space ourselves. There's a report from McKinsey & Co. a couple of years ago, this is pre-COVID, that were saying, Fortune 500 executives, 60% of them, or over 60% of them, talking about how their workforce is going to have to be retrained because of automation. And I know in Canada, one of our national banks is estimating that over 50% of the labor market is going to have to be reskilled over the next 10 years as a result of these changes. Now, the good news for anyone who is graduating and entering the workforce or going to start their business, if you are entrepreneurially inclined, the skills that are most resilient against this technological disruption just happen to be the same skills that make a good entrepreneur. So things like complex problem solving as a skill, emotional intelligence, creativity and originality, these are all skills that we know machines and AI can't replicate yet, and they are going to be in even greater demand into the future. So if I was to offer one piece of advice to those graduating students is work on those skills and look for opportunities, like Neil mentioned, to apply those skills in experiential opportunities or in your day-to-day work life, because they'll make you a much more competitive advantage in the workforce or with your business, you know, the business idea may fail. You know, we know that over 50% of startups fail within the first 10 years, but those skills can be applied to your next startup idea. So that would just be my 2 cents.
Very, very well said, Adam.
Absolutely.
And to all the the beginners, as you call yourself, but I think you have the most energy, you have time on your side, you have the motivation to try out new things, and that's what the startup world is. Just try it out. So with that, there is an audience question which is very specific. Are there any volunteering opportunities with incubators in Wales, Ireland for innovation enthusiasts in India to share and collaborate? And this is an open question to the panel. So if you'd like to share any opportunities, Tanaz, you can, Neil, Adam, any of you who are aware of these, please do.
Absolutely. I mentioned Tramshed Tech there in Cardiff. They do a lot globally in terms of extending their network. They have now virtual networks and are very keen to reach out to India. I mentioned they're actually based in the heart of the Indian community in Cardiff. So if that particular individual who's asked that question wants to hook up with me after, I can put them in touch with that particular co-working space. But again, it's and again, we have a number of other sort of incubators, accelerators who are looking at different specific tech areas. So again, if anybody just wants to reach out, we can put them in touch. I can put them in touch, or my colleagues can put them in touch with the relevant organisations and businesses here in Wales.
Great, thanks, Neil. I'm sure the student who's asked this question will take this up with you, and the team will help connect. Now as I see, we are almost nearing the end of our allocated time. I still had a lot more questions about trying to understand, what is the funding support or the academia support that is available to our startups, right? Which are in Ireland. Tanaz, I know you had shared a lot about that earlier too. And with all this going on, what are the changes? The change in administration that's happening in US. How will that affect the US visa processing for those who are looking at going? But I think you touched upon that, Wordy, slightly. So with that, I think we'll come to a wrap. We spent the past 45 minutes talking and understanding about what support is extended by various ecosystems. I'm not an IoT expert, but I heard a lot of interesting words, that was shared today. Water, energy, and then there was capsule technology. That was new for me. I'm going to read up on that. What was heartening to see that there's a lot of public and private partnerships that's happening, and I'm sure the IoTMatrix forum that we are sitting here today, as Som shared about it earlier, right? It's been started here in India, and there's some fantastic work that's being done. So I'm thanking you, all of you. Despite the various despite the time zone differences, morning, evening, afternoon, thank you for taking time. And over to you, Vijeta.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madhurima. It has been very, very nice. Hey, Shivi, would you like to add something? Is all good? We're good on time.
No, thanks a lot. I thought you are just on mute, so I was just.
No, that's fine. And there were some inputs that people were asking, and again I want to repeat that please share whatever you want with us on email that you want us to give to the community and the stakeholders and other people. And we have Som back as well. Hi Som, welcome back to the Madhurima just did a wrap, but maybe we should have a quick conversation for the next few minutes with Tanaz, Neil, Adam, and Verdi and Madhurima also, please.
No, so thank you guys. Thanks a lot. This was a beautifully organized panel. Thanks to Madhurima. And frankly speaking, this is kind of an initiative that we started. So last 4-5 years within IoT Forum, we were kind of figuring out what are the aspects of different IoT deep tech elements. We were kind of working with the startup hands-on, mentoring them, getting them all the help they need from technology side. Then we started a lot of this engagement with the investors community, right? From 2014-15 onwards. Then, I mean, we kind of saw the evolution. So they started small. It was a lot of manufacturing help. It was, hey, what are the different aspects of the IoT stack from sensor to the cloud, right? What are the different IoT platforms should we choose? So that was kind of in the development phase. Right? Then you kind of go on, people need investments. So that's when we engaged a lot of the investor community, right? So that was 15, 16 kind of time frame. We started giving IoT Matrix awards to the top startups and so on. And then I think from 2016, 17, 18 onwards, a lot of these engagement discussions was about business. Gosh, we have built up these products. We now want customers, we want partners, right? And during that time, we also started seeing a lot of acqui-hires, small acqui-hires, acquisitions also happening. So we did an M&A kind of a workshop that, hey, how do you prepare for such acqui-hires workshops? But frankly speaking, today, as these companies have got to a certain threshold, so out of 2,000 startups, I would say 300 of them have received some form of funding, be it seed, be it angel rounds, or VC money, even up to Series A, Series B. And the more mature ones, right, they are now kind of expanding globally. So we have these folks in talking and working with US, with Japan and Europe and so forth. So one of our companies, JETRO, they literally pretty much pitched camp in Houston now because they're in the oil and gas industry. So this is a beautiful opportunity. And that's the reason we are kind of talking with all of you guys, building up the global ecosystem, right? How can our startups kind of go global with your help? And same, cross-border initiatives, your startups can come to IoT Forum and we can engage with them. Excellent. So just a quick map of how things kind of evolved.
Very useful to understand that, Som. I must say I'm quite impressed to hear from you that I never knew we had 2,000 IoT startups in India. Yeah. It's quite a statistic, and 300 of them having got funding and now looking at going global. Awesome.
And it's a combination. It's not like only IoT services companies. So the way we define IoT, right? Physical, digital, the word we keep hearing, phygital startups, right? It's a combination of IoT, that means from sensor, then getting it over to a processor, networking, and so forth, then getting it over to the cloud, right? And then the analytics, AI analytics portion of it, right? But the same thing works in reverse. So as Joy was mentioning in his inaugural keynote, augmented reality, virtual reality, they're getting that digital world out to the physical world. So this 2000 startup is a hodgepodge of multiple, AR, VR related aspects, IoT related aspects. Some people are developing AI processors, some of them networking 5G solutions. So either they're horizontally focused, developing core technology, or the entire, creating that sensor and so forth, and giving a service, a value-added service, right?
Fantastic.
So we got both. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other comments?
Statistics also, Madhurima and everyone, that the IoT Forum has 100+ volunteers. There are several SIGs as well, and dedicated SIGs. So on Edge AI, there's a separate one. For connected vehicles, we have for telecom, not across the spectrum. There are dedicated people who are putting in a lot of effort, and these are from corporates. So, Madhurima, for you, remember we have been saying this, right? Startups need mentoring from corporate folks. There are such wonderful people here, busy people, but they're trying to do so much for the community. We will make sure that we immerse and do much more with everyone together. Okay, so it's 5:56 now. We are still live.
4 more minutes.
4 more minutes. Yeah? Okay, and any parting words? Because please, all of you gentlemen and ladies have come to join us and to support us. Is there some messaging that you want to give? Just 15-20 seconds each only, not more, to the audience. If you want to let people know how they can get in touch with you or whatever you want to say, please go ahead and do that. Anyone can, please. It's your floor. Literally, it's your floor.
I'll give the floor to Tanaz first.
I thought if there's so less time, we should just grab it. I can be reached on LinkedIn. very happy to work with companies. I think what the team, Som and the team, Vijeta, what you're doing is fantastic. Great to know about the 300 companies that have scaled up and are now looking to go global. Very happy to see how we could support those companies, which ones we could partner, and we would definitely support everyone, but it would make most sense to see which ones fit in well with the ecosystem that complements the company and the country. So I'm on LinkedIn.
Matchmaking is required. Yes.
Exactly. I'm on LinkedIn, but I'll share my contact details with Vijeta as well to include in the presentation that we'll be sharing. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you.
For those who want to stay in India and explore, NetApp Accelerator is something you want to check out if you haven't yet. We work with B2B tech product startups. IoT is one of our focus areas. We've had startups like Acorn Labs being part of the previous cohort. And there's a breadth, as Som said. So we'll also share some material, Vijeta, to share.
Please do that.
I guess what I was going to say was, obviously we have a number of Indian companies who invested into Wales over the last 10 years or so. So again, I'll be more than happy to introduce any of the delegates here today to some of those Indian companies. So if you're considering locating to Wales, you'll have a chat with some of these existing investors to get a feel from them as to how what it's like located in Wales, being in Wales, delivering your business from Wales, rather than hearing it from me, the man from the government, because I'm going to say how great it is anyway. But you can actually hear it from some of the companies who've been there, done it, and have invested. And really, I guess a big shout out for me today is to one of your leading pharmaceutical companies, Work Hard.
Yes.
They're located in North Wales. And they're about to start manufacturing some of the COVID vaccines for the UK market. Because obviously, some of you may know that the COVID vaccine has been rolled out across the UK as of this week, the Pfizer vaccine. But Rockart will be hopefully rolling out a manufacturing from Wales, the AstraZeneca vaccine. So a big thank you to your pharmaceutical industry there in India, helping us here in the UK and Wales.
Great. I'm happy to go next, and first, just appreciate the opportunity. I think that it's a very well-designed conference, and I think for telling us about the background and mission. Very interesting to me. So first off, congratulations to all the organizers for pulling this off. Secondly, I would just say to those that are in the audience that are starting new businesses or trying to expand an existing business, I can't think of a more uncertain or risky time to do that. And I want to applaud you for taking on that challenge and that effort. And you should know that there is support available to you, well represented here in India, and know that there is support available to you around the world, just represented on this panel. So, keep pushing forward. We all appreciate it and depend on you for our own community prosperity and global prosperity, and are willing to support you however we can.
That's excellent.
And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter, PH_Adam Peabody.
From my end, I just wanted to say that if you are interested in establishing your presence, expanding in the United States, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer all your questions regarding your US visa options. You may visit our website. It's usimmigrationadvisor.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you so much. And we are 6:01. The next panel is going to start. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, Som, for being part of this as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste from India, from Bangalore. And be well, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Take care, all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So Shivi, we should go
So hi everyone.
off.
Yeah.
We should go off live and get all the. Oh, I see all the panelists are already here.
Yeah. So I think
We are off, right? We are not live now.
we are live. I think we can have 1 or 2 minutes of friendly chat.
Can you please just go off live. We'll just do a quick chat and then come back on.
I'll not advise that.
Okay, got it.
Because if we face an issue, and I think a lot of people are already here and they are
okay
to listen, all the friendly chat and everything. So we can get started.
Hi everybody. I'm Shom Pal Chaudhary.
Nice to meet you.
Bhaskar, how are you? Fantastic. So we still got a few minutes before we go online. The schedule is supposed to start at around 6:15. So why don't we just do a quick round of introduction and so forth, please?
There are quite a few evaluation guidelines which I have started and written. So 3 editions of those, and studied at LSE, London School of Economics, and that is my, the best days. Let's put it there.
Very good, very good. So Pratik, I will go next. I will kind of introduce to the audience a bit about IoTMatrix and IoT Forum.
Please.
And for all the audience who have joined in, new for this session, so they are on, we are live as well. So just to give you, gentlemen, just to give you my personal background, I'm a partner at Bharat Innovation Fund. We are a venture capital fund focused on funding more deep tech and IP-led startups going global from India. And our origin actually started almost 15 years back. We started, and which is today, one of India's leading and the most successful incubation programs. So we kind of, the Y Combinator model from India. I also happen to be the co-founder of IoT Forum and the co-chair of IoTMatrix, this conference. So welcome all of you to IoTMatrix. A few words, just a few words about this forum. IoTMatrix is on its 6th anniversary this year. So this is the 6th event. It's an annual conference of IoT Forum, and IoT Forum is a think tank initiative of TIE. This is the Indus entrepreneurs to raise the IoT quotient of India. This started way back by a few of us back in 2014. And this is today a vibrant community of over 2,000 IoT deep tech startups developing technologies and solutions across the entire IoT stack, from the sensor to the cloud. Several thousands of active participants with 14 task forces, 100+ volunteers. And the IoT Forum initiatives, it's an ecosystem building exercise. It includes regular meetups, mentorship, an active community forum on various topics of interest, IoTMatrix awards to the top startups. So this is going to start today at 7 p.m. I'd request you to be there as well. It's a global ecosystem connects. That's what we do, corporate engagements and partnerships, and of course, thought leadership on various topics of interest, and most importantly, maintaining the most up-to-date repository of 2,000+ IoT startups in India, right? So my warmest welcome to all the panelists. And of course, the panel will be moderated by Pratik, a very dear friend. And he's also a leader of our Global Ecosystem Connections Task Force of IoT Forum. Okay, so I'll stop here and please, Dr. Benali, if you can please introduce yourself.
Sure, my name is Sabah al-Benali. I'm from the United Arab Emirates. I come from the investment side, and for the past 22 years, I've been focused really on direct investments on VC and PE. And 2 months ago, I joined Our Crowd as partner and head of the Gulf region. Our Crowd is an Israeli-based VC firm focused on tech investments with about 1.6 billion invested worldwide.
Thank you, Dr. Sabah. May I request Salvatore to introduce yourself here, please?
Yep, absolutely. I'm Salvatore Lavallo. I am the head of foreign direct investment at the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. Before being at Audio, I've been in the UAE for 10 years, working with McKinsey and Company, as well as with the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. And I was the first member of Audio's investments team, and have been here almost since the beginning, about 2 years ago.
Thank you. Dr. Bhaskar, shall we?
Sorry, Dr. Bhaskar, you are on mute.
That is terrible. Hopefully it'll be better in the live session. And sorry for the dramatic lighting.
No,
sort of, you know, I'm having the.
No, we are already live. We are already live. So please go ahead.
Oh, fantastic. I was just talking about the fantastic lighting that I'm blessed with, Abu Dhabi sunlight in the sunset. So apologies if I start looking like Scarface or Half-Face. I work for Abu Dhabi Global Market, which is Abu Dhabi's international financial center. And I look after business development for most of our new initiatives that are coming out of the financial regulators. So I oversee the venture capital side, the fintech side, and I also for my market side, I look after India for to actually help them grow into Abu Dhabi and vice versa.
Fantastic. So Pratik, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Shonda. I think that's good. I think it's good to have the panel here. And thanks, Type Bangalore, for hosting this event. The first few things, I think it's actually an honor for me to host this panel with great minds like Dr. Saba, Salvatore, and Dr. Bhaskar. And first, I'll just do a brief introduction with Dr. Saba Al-Benali. So Dr. Saba is head of MENA region for our crowd, as I mentioned. Previously, he was with National Investor, and he was the vice chairman and the board of chairman for the investment and strategy committee. He was previously chief investment officer and CEO of credit at Shuha Capital. Dr. Saba holds a PhD from Columbia University and BS from Princeton. Next in panel, we have got Salvatore. Salvatore, as you mentioned, he is head of foreign direct investments at Abu Dhabi Investment Office. And prior to his stint with Audio, he was with McKinsey and helped Tony Blair. Institute, he's a graduate from New York University, where he was Martin Luther King Jr. Scholar and received President's Service Award. One very unique thing about Salvatore is that he has actually traveled to all the countries in the world, and congratulations for that. The next gentleman is Dr. Bhaskar. He's leading Edition's initiative for Southeast Asia, and few other markets. He focuses on financial services across emerging markets and Europe. Dr. Dasgupta is responsible for overseeing the development of banking, asset management, and private banking sectors in EDGM. He's also previously, he was with UK Export Finance at Department of International Trade, UK government, where he was the chief operating officer. And one unique fact about Dr. Dasgupta is he holds 4 PhDs and always tries to inspire me to do one, but I always manage to stay out of it. Before I progress, I just asked the panelists to share a few comments if they have before we get into the broader discussions. And I'll start with Dr. Saba.
Well, no, it's an honor to be here. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to this session.
Thank you very much. Salvatore?
Yep, we're very happy to be here and to be discussing more about the opportunities in Abu Dhabi alongside the other panelists. Looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Dr. Bhaskar?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard about Thai for such a long time. And I'm welcoming this opportunity to actually extend our engagement with them.
Thank you very much. So I think, as Salvatore mentioned and all of you mentioned, like the first question is to all the panelists, and the question is why Abu Dhabi? And to start with, like few pointers would be on social, cultural, and the government support. And I'll start with Dr. Sabah.
Well, thank you. So I'll on the social culture, I think Abu Dhabi is well known. It's quite international, and I think it doesn't need that much introduction. I'd like to focus a little more on the government support and the infrastructure. To tell you why I'm here, as our crowd, we're looking to actually incorporate at the Abu Dhabi Global Markets. So we're engaged with them as we speak. And a big part of why I'm here is I spoke to ADIO and the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, and I said, listen, we have a portfolio of over 200 companies. You know, they want to look where to set up in the region. You know, and I believe that the UAE and Abu Dhabi in particular can be a gateway to East and Southeast Asia. And so we went on a journey together with ADIO to explain all of these things. So it's not just local support, which is what ADIO, which Salvatore and Dr. Bhaskar will go into. It's when we're looking how to invest and grow, you know, in the greater region, and not just the MENA, but greater region. You have the support to help introduce, to help to get to know people. Because I think in the end, the more plugged in you are, and this is what Abu Dhabi is looking to be, is an actual, to be a highly plugged in, networked financial center, the greater the business opportunities.
Thank you, Dr. Sabah. Salvatore, any additional points to that on all the three aspects, like social, cultural, and government support?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that there's, you know, when we're looking at the reasons of why Abu Dhabi, when we're talking to companies about looking at, you know, expanding into Abu Dhabi, we like to talk, you know, about the business environment, about the government support, and also about, you know, the environment as a place to live. So on the first part about the, you know, the business environment, what I like to tell people is that what you might know about Abu Dhabi probably isn't wrong. It might just be old, because we are changing at such a fast pace. We've had more policy changes in the past, like 2 years, in terms of ease of doing business than we have maybe in the decade before that. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, we announced 100% foreign ownership for almost all economic activities, which has been, you know, a barrier to different types of private sector entities for a long time. We are in specific sectors. We are making a lot of changes. Dr. Bhaskar and I work a lot in healthcare changes that we're looking at. We also, in agriculture, we have introduced new economic licensing, new zoning, and lease agreements. So there's so much that is changing. It's really a place that is day in, day out getting better. So in terms of businesses and ease of doing business, I think it's not only currently one of the best places to be, but increasingly getting better. In terms of looking at the government support, right now as a government, we are trying to be as coordinated as possible and to fully align more so than ever. Our main goals with that is to, one, we want to have a one Abu Dhabi approach. If you speak to myself at the investment office, or if you speak with Dr. Bhaskar or any of the other government entities, we want you to be able to get the same answer, to get the same understanding of Abu Dhabi. You don't have to go to 9 different entities in order to, you know, to get one answer. And we also want to be able to provide that full menu of options. You know, at the investment office, we provide financial and non-financial incentives to help companies to expand and to grow in Abu Dhabi. But then we also have, you know, the funding partners that are able to give equity. We have the locations like ADGM that Dr. Bhaskar will talk about, which give the locations and look at some of those policies. So we're all holistically have that menu of options. And then third, and maybe most important, is that you know, the livelihood. It's one of the happiest places to live in the world. It's been the safest city in the world for 4 years in a row. And so, as you said, I've been to every country in the world, but I've chosen to live in Abu Dhabi because I truly think it's not only the best place in the world, but it's increasingly getting better every single day. It's an amazing place full of people from all over the world. The local Emirati population is one of the most hospitable anywhere that I've been. And I think that all of this makes it not only good for your business to come, but when your employees are thinking about where they want to spend their life, there's no better place to be than in Abu Dhabi. So I think that's really what it's about, is that optimism, knowing that it's always going to increase in all of these dimensions.
I think that's a great set of examples coming from you, given your pedigree and your knowledge of the world, and I think everyone surely kind of takes it very positively. I think then I actually kind of move to Dr. Bhaskar, who actually kind of travels to India quite often, to share your thoughts on why Abu Dhabi and.
Thank you, Pratik. And as Dr. Sabha and Sal mentioned, I mean, I'm not going to repeat them. From my perspective, having grown up in India and having worked for more than 25 years in London, and whilst, of course, nobody can, I think, top Sal's record, but I've worked in about 76 countries and visited them. I was quite pleasantly surprised when I came over here, and there are several aspects to this. Look, the points about this being the safest city shouldn't be overlooked. Look, I mean, people work for a reason. They want their families to grow up safe. They want to have a good place to live, a nice, decent place. You can have great food. Yes, it does get hot, but what doesn't? During the sort of 8 months, you have an absolutely brilliant time. So when you're looking at the perspective of an Indian firm actually wanting to explore, you have availability of capital, you have great connectivity around the world, safe city, you got English common law, which allows you to actually utilize the standard of law for your contracts, which is adopted all over the world, digital courts. You actually have got investable opportunities if you are a fund, and the ecosystem is growing very rapidly. As of yesterday, I have how many? Somewhere around about just a shade under 250 tech startups that I have licensed, out of which almost about 100, give or take a few, are based in Hub 71, which is one of our richest in terms of features as the workspace. So for Indian firms, this is great. Let me give you a couple of other factoids. Abu Dhabi has now declared Hindi as the third official language. You walk around or you drive around, you're going to start seeing billboards with Hindi signs, and it's just 3 hours away. Plus, the food is good. So this is indeed a good place to work. Nice, decent, quiet, discreet place, not only to do business locally in Abu Dhabi, but this is the place that you can literally use for your wider regional business as well, especially now that travel is a bit challenged. Pratik?
Yeah, sure. I think these are kind of very good first few points on Abu Dhabi, and I think in keeping with the spirit, I think my next question is focused towards Salvatore, and it is on like the current support for from Abu Dhabi towards innovation ecosystem, and if you could provide a brief overview of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great question. It's something that we're thinking constantly about. How do we improve the innovation ecosystem? And I think it's very much about the coordination. So it's about coordinating in terms of the research platforms, and coordinating in terms of the business policies, coordinating as Dr. Sabah was saying about the connections within the communities, making sure that everybody is connected with another, also with the financial incentives that the government can offer and the non-financial incentives that the government can offer. At the investment office, we're kind of focused in three main parts of this. The first is on the ecosystem enablement. So in each of the sectors that we're focused in, we have working groups with all of the other government entities that are involved in this sector, so that we can be fully aligned on what is the strategy, what is the policy, what are some of the players that are coming in, and how can we help them. We're able to really look at each individual company and give a bespoke and give an individualized support to them. It might be that I can support them through our programs at the investment office. It might be that I refer them to Dr. Bhaskar to have the ADGM support. Often we work together. It might also be that I connect them with Dr. Sabah because it might need more of a connection within the community. We're really here about coordination. We're also looking at different research universities, and for each of the sectors that we're focused on, we're seeing how can we work on having more research and development done in Abu Dhabi, connecting with the universities that we have, making sure that we're upskilling our population and that we're not only bringing in people from abroad, but that we're building that skill base here in Abu Dhabi. That also leads to some of the visa policy changes that we're having. Traditionally, people are in the UAE tied to or given their visa residency based on their job. We're looking increasingly at having people here based on their skills. So you might have heard about the golden visas that are being given to people with PhDs. So I don't know if Dr. Bhaskar, because he has 4 PhDs, if he gets 40-year visa. I think it's now, I think it's a 10-year visa for anybody with a PhD. Students who graduate from here get more time. We're giving long-term visas to entrepreneurs, to scientists, to doctors. So we're enabling the workforce to be here. Our financial incentives are a rebate program where we are able to cover key costs of innovation areas such as high-skilled payroll, high-tech CapEx. We don't take any equity. We don't take any IP ownership. We don't take any commercial interests. It's really just a government support program in order to help companies that are setting up, establishing, and growing in Abu Dhabi. On the non-financial side, I think it goes even further, which is we have an investor concierge team. They are able to handhold companies in a white glove service to help with HR, with legal, with any kind of support in setting up in a new country. It can be complicated to understand that, especially when you have all these policies. Even if it's changing for the better, any policy change can be hard to navigate. So we're here to help with that. So again, I think that the final thing that I would always say in a lot of these questions, and I don't mean to be repeating myself, but is that it's constantly improving. So our innovation ecosystem right now, it's about coordinating all of those approaches, building a cluster around it, and making it increasingly better and better every day.
Thank you very much, Salvatore. I think that's really helpful for the audience here. And I think in line with this question, I also ask Dr. Saba a question towards, how as an investor in innovation and different technologies, how would you look at Indian market and the startups here, and what kind of advices you would have for them?
Okay, so that's actually broad. I could spend several hours talking about. I think the Indian market provides a lot of potential on many levels. I'll just pick one of the main facets as an investor that I'm looking at, which is the tech talent. The tech talent is clear, it's high quality, these entrepreneurs, and there's quite an entrepreneurial spirit. It provides a lot of opportunity as an investor. Now, I personally, and here I'm going to speaking personally, not representing my company or anyone else. I personally prefer to invest closer to home. Now, looking at how close we are, it's a relatively short flight. Looking at the large number of Indians resident here, the Indian communities, I'd seriously look at exploring. When you set up, why not set up in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi? You get a lot of benefits, and you get and here I'm talking about private investor capital. I'm not talking about all the government support that the others will talk about. But there's a lot of investor capital that's focused here, that's based out of here, not just Abu Dhabi, not just UAE investor capital, but family offices from around the region are based here. So I think that looking to, if not set up, expand into here, using Abu Dhabi as a springboard into the region makes a lot of sense, and it's much easier to raise capital when your investor base or when there is a key investor base that feels close to you and will put money, invest with you. The other important thing is don't think of Abu Dhabi as just about capital. You know, I think you're going to miss a lot if you just are going to think, and this is to Indian entrepreneurs or to any entrepreneurs from around the world that look at Abu Dhabi. Sometimes some people might think, oh, just come here, there's going to be, you know, lots of cash lying around. This isn't correct. Number one, you know, it's smart money, so you have to actually be offering something interesting, but you also get a lot of support in developing your business. So in my colleague panelists will be talking from the government point of view, but it is in our nature as Emiratis that once we're invested not just financially, we work on doing all the right introductions, on expanding within the country, within the region, and outwards as well. So trying to also get to know the private sector is very complementary to what the government sector also provides.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like it's not only the government support. There is a substantial amount of private support and assessment of good investments that's happening in UAE these days, and that also kind of bringing in parallel capital as well as a lot of networking support for businesses to grow not only within the region and beyond it. I
just would like to add one thing. Don't forget that there is a large investor, Indian-based community here, investors, business people who can provide an easier transition than if you're going to somewhere that maybe that doesn't have such a large percentage from your own home country. I think that's an important point to make.
Yes, I think over the last few years, UAE is turning out to be the second home for a lot of Indians, and I myself have spent a lot of time in the region, so I really understand that, and I think that is a good point for all the audiences as well. I think in continuation with that, like this question is for Dr. Bhaskar, like any recent onboarding examples or current support systems for Indian companies that you might share some information on. Thank you.
Sure. So we are getting quite a lot of inquiries from Indian companies, and the list of all the Indian firms. In fact, if I may put it this way, in terms of the number of Indian nationals who have registered licenses with us, it's already more than 300. So this is, of course, not just tech startups, but it's tech startups, corporates, et cetera, et cetera. Sal and I were on an Indian pharmaceutical and healthcare call, and we had about 650 people from India dial in. The other things that we have done with India are to host a Indian fund event over here. We had an ESG event here. We have sponsored events in India ranging from corporate lawyers to sustainable finance to venture capital, so on and so forth. But there are a couple of things that I just wanted to talk about from the perspective of technology startups and what I see are the benefits and what they are telling me when they come and set up over here. The first and foremost is if you're coming out of India and setting up over here, first thing is in quite a lot of sectors, whether you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about defense, you're talking about e-commerce, you're talking about fintech, you have a small population which is comprising of almost about 97 or 100 nationalities. So that gives you an amazing way to test out your international model in a country which is highly literate and sophisticated, number one. Number two is in most of these sectors, whether you're talking about healthcare or whether you're talking about fintech, whether you're talking about defense or you're talking about oil and gas, you have a very progressive regulator which loves to explore new business models. And I'm talking about it, of course, from the perspective of fintechs. We welcome new business models. The third thing is, once you combine that with all the things that Dr. Sabha and Sal was talking about in terms of effort, assistance, dual licensing, 100% foreign ownership, the amazing and very, very useful tax setup and footprint, what it means is that an Indian startup who starts up in Abu Dhabi, immediately their valuations change, because an external investor or person who wants to buy out would be able to see that that particular model, service, or product has been tested out in Abu Dhabi. And then, because we have a customer base here as well, your valuations increase by multiples. And the revenue earnings suddenly start getting expressed in either US dollars or in dirhams, which in any case are pegged to each other. Once you have that, and then additional funding can come in quite easily. We have an absolute very wide and very deep range of liquidity providers, whether you're talking about the seed capital side or emergent funding side, from example, the Hub 71, up to the scale up capital with people like SoftBank and other large investors who are present over here. So those are the 2-3 things I would say about Indian startups who might be exploring to expand abroad.
Sure, I think that's really helpful. And on the valuation point, or access to capital once firms actually land in Abu Dhabi is really great. And I myself have seen that quite a few times, where firms have scaled up very substantially out of that market. And the various programs that you run, and Bhaskar, like I'll ask you on this, on the MIASA, process, like the geographic areas you sometimes mention. If you could add some more color to that here.
Sure. So look, I mean, as I said, the key trick, or the people have to use all the advantages you can get, all the assets that you can get. Dr. Sabha talked about, and he's an example of an investor, right? You heard from Sal, who are talking about it from the perspective of government support and an integrated fashion. You heard from me, who's a regulator and who assists.
Yeah.
So we will be able to actually give you an excellent set of factors and assets that's going to allow you to look at Abu Dhabi Inc. and Abu Dhabi as a place to start. But one thing that I said was, you have to consider this as a growth place. This place actually rewards people who are ambitious. So what has Abu Dhabi done to actually do that? Number one, you have access to one of the largest double tax treaty networks on the planet. So if you set up over here and you are able to actually service your foreign customers, do business outside in Africa, in other parts of GCC, in North Africa, Europe, Central Asia, etc., you become part of a UAE ecosystem that shelters under that double tax treaty network. So because of the low taxes you have over here, your valuations and your productivity and your revenue figures and the profitability is much better, number one. Number two, and I'm going to reiterate this, the fact that if you are based in Abu Dhabi global market, you get English common law. People don't frequently understand the benefit and the certainty that gives to both investors as well as customers in dealing with a corporate or a startup which says, I'm under English common law. That is immediately top of the line legal standard that you can actually achieve. The only other places that you can achieve in the wider region, you have to go all the way to Singapore or to London. And from here, in the wider MIASA region that I mentioned, there is nowhere else who's got English common law. The other aspect is, and I do hope you don't ever face this, but if you do get into dispute resolution or you need to get into arbitration, we have a purely digital court. We started being digital. So you actually don't need to be here to launch a case. It becomes very, very expensive. And in the remote case that you do need to have a dispute resolution, you can do that remotely. Finally, we actually actively help our firms expand abroad. So you can join us in our delegations. We have a huge range of memorandums of understanding signed by a variety of people, associations, ministries, foreign firms, etc., and you can leverage on that. It is in our interest to see you be based over here and grow. So for becoming the regional headquarters, regional corporate treasury, quite a lot of firms are already seeing that happening over here. Pratik?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's really helpful to understand like how Abu Dhabi also helps companies to scale up and the protections and the treaties they have in place to augment the valuation of everyone. The next question is, I think it's a broader question, and it's our final question to all the panelists here. And I'll start with Dr. Sabah. So where do we go from here? I think what's the next phase? For Indian startups, if you talk about them.
Well, the next phase really is get information. I think there's a lot of fear in moving, and I say this again as an investor. I can be unbiased saying this because I don't work at ADIO or ADGM or for the Abu Dhabi government. If you go to the ADIO website, you go to the ADGM website, there is a wealth of information at not just the support, the processes. They have plenty of webinars that explain every step. It answers all of your questions. And so I would go to those two sites and I would spend, the next couple of weeks just going through all the information there. And particularly there's a lot of webinars and presentations that explain a lot of the facets. And this, and what is risk? Risk is actually not having information. And here you have a wealth of information that allows you to understand what's there and how to take these next steps. So this is unbiased. I don't get paid by them. It's truly to me, it's the next step.
Thank you, Dr. Sawa. I think that's really insightful, and your unbiased view on them also adds up to the entire ecosystem story. Salvatore, what are the thoughts you have for the next steps?
Yeah, I think that I would see it kind of in four ways. The first is about promoting Abu Dhabi, right? Again, having all of these new changes be really well understood by the companies in India that would be looking at coming to Abu Dhabi, and we are always happy to take you to take you through these. And then the second thing is for us to really focus on building that foundational policy and infrastructure that really supports businesses that are coming to looking at coming into Abu Dhabi, making it the best place that it's possible for it to do business. Third step I would say is attracting those companies to Abu Dhabi, giving the financial and non-financial incentives that we can, showing them all of the reasons that Abu Dhabi is a great place to access the wider region and the rest of the world. And then finally, I would say that the fourth step is about how can we build up those local capabilities? How can we be the ear of the private sector, listen to what you're seeing as barriers, listen to see how we can support the local ecosystem more, how we can continue to improve. So it really just starts with that promotion, that education, and we're happy to help in order to do that.
I think that's really encouraging, and that brings us to I'll move to Dr. Bhaskar for his final thoughts.
Well, I mean, in terms of the next steps, of course, sort of, my details can be shared. Otherwise, please look me up on LinkedIn. And yes, let's get in touch. Take the first step. Reach out to us. And we are very, very happy to take you through the process. And we are extraordinarily patient. If not today, we'll get you tomorrow. So, and it's a good place to work. It's a really good place to work.
Okay, I think that's our list of questions. But for the panel, but we have got two interesting questions from the audience.
Yeah.
So the first one is at what stage of startups, like early stage or expansion stage, you expect companies to...
And Pratik, can I give a bit of a color on this
Please,
question.
please go
Yeah.
ahead.
So if you look at the typical entrepreneur, right, in India, yes, probably I'm talking about primarily tech entrepreneurs. They have probably set up their entire life and kids and schools and everything out in Bangalore, right? They've been working in large multinational companies at Cisco's and Amazon's or Silicon Valley startups, come up with a fantastic, bright idea, sets up a company, builds something, right? So I guess the question will come. So that's typically kind of the journey, entrepreneurial journey of a tech entrepreneur, right? That we typically see. Many of them have returned back from US, Europe at some point of time, made Bangalore home. So I guess the question essentially, at what stage do they approach you? Is it at the setup stage? Is it, after he has built up the product and ready to expand outside of India at that stage, looking at, which is many of our IoT companies are probably at that stage, where a lot of these R&D elements, the talent, Dr. Sabha talked about the talent, those are available in Bangalore. But now this company really wants to expand out globally, maybe making Abu Dhabi, UAE as kind of the stepping stone to go global. Is that kind of the stage, or do you think it's more apt for the early stage with Hub 71 and so forth, even at an incubation seed aspect? So would love to get some color from all of you.
If I may kick that off, I'll answer from the point of view of an investor. As an investor, when you look at the ease of getting global capital, Abu Dhabi has a comparative advantage. Okay, and to me, the stage doesn't matter. It could be early stage, mid stage, growth, late stage. And in fact, I encourage all so I can have a well-balanced portfolio, right? I think what's important is that you have to, and this is as an investor, that moving to Abu Dhabi, you have to be thinking big, because Abu Dhabi, where you get that leverage, is to become global, okay? And if you're going to come and say to me, I'm going to set up something, I'm coming to Abu Dhabi from anywhere in the world, but even in India, we're going to set up something that's going to serve 1 or 2 countries. I will say, okay, you may be successful, but you're not going to hit your maximum potential. I want the big visionaries, be it at any stage, and I believe that the framework and the infrastructure here supports any stage, to be thinking, how do I at least grow, onto a whole continent? That is what's important from my point of view.
Salvatore, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think what I would say is that at the investment office, we're looking really at companies that are at the stage of expanding with a physical presence into Abu Dhabi and supporting them in order to do that, to help them to grow here, to bring teams on the ground, establish legal entity. So when companies are at that stage, we're happy to discuss with them the different ways that we can ease that process, the different ways to set up and establish here, and really we're agnostic across sectors and stuff. So we're happy to chat with anybody that's looking to physically expand.
And Salvatore, is that when you say expansion stage, would it be kind of a Series B, Series C stage, or?
I mean, what we would be looking for is that presence here in Abu Dhabi, right?
Okay,
so having a team on the ground that we would be able to support with the establishment. If it's earlier stage, we would probably connect with Hub 71, which Dr. Rostrum about, it's within ADGM. If it's a little bit further, if it is Series B and beyond, we could look at it through our incentive program, which is rebates, which requires upfront capital for others. And then regardless of the size of the company, we're able to give our non-financial incentives through our investor concierge team to help with that establishment.
Got it. Fantastic.
Bhaskar, I think you are next. So what's your thoughts on this process?
So I would absolutely echo Dr. Sabha. This is a place that can handle pretty much anything. If you are very early stage or you want to set up, Hub 71 is the place for it. So it has gotten, I would welcome you to go and check out the Hub 71 webpage. Otherwise, please connect me on LinkedIn or email, and I'll connect you to them. And that's where the startups come in, absolutely early stage startups. And after that, I mean, the sky's the limit. I absolutely echo what Dr. Sabha said. Come here with burning ambition. Liquidity or capital, if your idea is good, is not going to be the constraint. And we actually encourage people to come here with huge ambition, because that's what we are. Here, Abu Dhabi absolutely likes big ideas, and we are happy to take risks. We are. I mean, let me give you an example, and people might be tired of hearing about this. This country is going through 2 national transformations in less than 50 years. From a pearling-based tiny economy, it massively transformed after the oil and gas. Huge bets were taken at that time. And guess what? After some time, when people realized that, when you're talking about a country based upon just oil, cannot be a future sustainable society, Sheikh Zayed, who's the founder of the country, he basically said, almost 20 years back, saying we have to diversify our economy. And that entire country and its economy is again transforming, pivoting, and changing. 2 major transformations in less than 50 years. This is a country that understands risks and invests in them. Absolutely, any stage, small, medium, large, early stage, Series B, Series A, scale up, huge, billions of dollars of investment needed, come and talk to us.
I think that's great to hear, Bhaskar. Like it's it's really encouraging for everyone. I think we got another question, but it is residency requirements for Abu Dhabi. I think that is like if I could direct it towards Bhaskar or Salvatore.
Yeah. No requirements.
Okay.
I mean, you do have to maintain data privacy, data control, and the data protection regime is something akin to GDPR. But no, we don't specify any of that requirements.
Sure. So I think that is
another quick question had come up. I think as again this from an Indian kind of a perspective, we look at UAE as a country, Dubai and Abu Dhabi as the 2 major hubs. And all of these incentives, opportunities, and so forth, are they getting kind of an offer for the startups, for the startup ecosystem, only in Abu Dhabi or also in Dubai? Any color and sorts in terms of UAE as a country, as a perspective, please?
Let me take that as I am, again, the unbiased one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is the question that came up. I don't know if this is culturally sensitive and so forth.
No. This is not. This is quite the opposite. No. These are good questions, and we'll answer them. I just am not working for the Abu Dhabi government, so I can give an independent answer. I think here that you have at the federal level, the government gives supports, and then in each emirate there's support from the government and from the private sector. I think the idea that Abu Dhabi and Dubai are competition, or it's one or the other, is a myopic view, and I think one needs to think about it as a whole. It is my belief that having Abu Dhabi and Dubai, who do of course have the leaderships have different views on various things, but the consensus and the discussion has created this evolution. Our hypergrowth comes from having 2 different sources of ideas and thoughts, and so it should not be seen at all as one or the other. It absolutely isn't. And the hypergrowth and it will continue, I believe, because this it's not competition, it's cooperative competition that helps things grow and evolve, go on. So I think, you know, if you're looking at the UAE level, don't think about Abu Dhabi versus Dubai. You know, as our crowd, we're opening offices in both. You know, as a startup, early stage startup, you might not, but they both have many positive things to offer, and why not take both? And I think expanding that view of you know, is an important one.
Sure. Any other thoughts? Thanks, Dr. Sabha. Any other thoughts from others?
One thing I would
No.
when we're looking at companies, you know, we're not the largest market in the world. We have about 10 million people. We are the 30th largest economy, but you know, companies that are growing here have to be instantly global, because they, you know, we are a center of the world geographically. We have a lot of companies that are expanding from Europe into Asia through Abu Dhabi. We have a lot of at the investment office, we've supported 2 Indian companies that are looking at getting more into the Middle East. We have companies that are really focused on East Africa out of Abu Dhabi. You know, so none of the companies or the business plans that we're helping them to make would be strictly looking at Abu Dhabi or only the UAE, but you know, we really want people to take a global approach and to use this region to touch the entire world.
Sure. Bhaskar, any final thoughts on this?
No, I think my colleagues have said everything. I mean, I really wouldn't see this as competition, as Dr. Sabha said. You know, the rough equivalent is like, for example, Zurich and Geneva, right? That good elements of each center has got its own strengths, and it's good for the country. I mean, I was talking about the double tax treaty network. It applies to whether you are in Dubai or here. So there's at that federal level, there are quite a lot of benefits, and then at the emirate level. So pick and choose. The only last thing that I would say is we are cognizant that that startups need quite a lot of assistance. Whether you're talking about sort of help to grow their business, financing, a ready-made market, and a willing and progressive regulator. Else, we thought about quite a lot of things, including the fact that, of course, we are now going to have a Hindu temple as well, which Prime Minister Modi inaugurated. We do realize that the divine intervention does play quite a large role, and that channel has also been established.
Yeah, I think yes. Please go ahead.
No, that's it.
I think that's really great. I think that actually kind of was our last question. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your thoughts and time, and there's a really good information and insights for the audiences as well as me and other hosts. And thank you, TiE Bangalore and IoT Forum organizers. With this note, we end this panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Sabha, Dr. Bhaskar, and Salvatore Lavallo. I would please request, we will send you, Pratik will send you the link. From 7 to 8 p.m., we have our IoTMatrix award ceremony. So if you would please join. So we are giving innovation awards, scale-up awards to a bunch of startups. But it's a different link to join. Pratik, if you can send over that link as well.
Sure.
And thank you very much for being on the panel and giving us these very valuable insights.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.